Hello and welcome to SureFire Live. Hope you guys are doing well. I am on the road tonight. I'm in another town and I had to do this on my iPad, so I hope it goes well. Never done the SureFire Live on an iPad, so I have faith that it'll go well. We did have a little technical glitch last week with the sound when I was trying to show something. I muted my mic, but hopefully it'll be better this week. Welcome. Hope you guys are having a good week. I wanted to announce our Sweepway Cancer Rally. I think many people have been to it. We normally have somewhere between, 20 and 40 people that come on the ride with us. And we're going to do the same place we did it last year. It's going to be in Wytheville, Virginia, in an area called the Back of the Dragon. Now, the Tail of the Dragon, we did that many years and super fun, and that's in North Carolina, Tennessee area. There's another famous road called the Back of the Dragon, and it's a little bit, about probably 100 miles away, so it's not right there in that same area. But we did it last year. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a really nice ride. It's June 14th and 15th. June 14th, we arrive. We have a dinner that night and just, get together. And we have a barbecue or a dinner that's provided for us. And it is a fantastic event that night. And then we just hang out. And then Saturday, the next morning, we have a breakfast. And then we will go on a ride. And we will ride the day and stop at certain places. And then get back that night. Normally probably have another dinner somewhere if we want. And people can stay in that area or go on. And then Sunday, most of the people leave. But it's a great event. There's going to be some links coming. In the next couple of weeks, I'll have everything set up with the website, the links, donations, swag bags, but bring anything you want. You can bring motorcycles, you can bring sports cars, you can bring convertibles, you can bring chimney vans. I think a bunch of chimney vans on it would be super cool. Bring whatever. It's really not about what you're riding in. It's about us getting together for a great cause and raising money for people with cancer that we give it to. So please join us for that. So tonight, I'm going to have a guest on that has been a huge mentor of mine, and he is starting a new project, a mastermind project, and we're going to talk about that. And Mastermind's been a very big part of my growth as a chimney company, and we're going to probably get into that a little bit tonight because he was there through a lot of that. So with that, I'm going to bring on Clay Lamb. See if I can do this right. Add to stage. Hey, man.
Hey, brother. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Life's good for me, Mark. It's good.
Yes. Yeah. Well, man, thanks for joining me tonight. It's been great to see you over the past couple of weeks, seeing you at HPBA, and you and I have talked probably since the NCSG last year, and you kind of started having these ideas and kind of bouncing it off everybody. Yeah, that you're an idea guy. But for those of you those are the people that are joining us that don't know who Clay Lamb is, could you give us a quick, synopsis of who you are and why are we talking tonight?
Sure. Well, I guess I started in 1981 as a chimney contractor, and it was a good thing for me to do. I had to support my wife and 3 kids, and it was good for me for 43 years, Mark. 43 years, yeah.
Wow.
We're based out of Cincinnati. And I'm sure there's a few guys that are maybe even available right now that work with me, around me. They probably will be. I'm not a big flash guy, but the thing I'm most proud of, Mark, is probably Ask the Chimney Sweep.
Yeah.
That has helped a lot of people. And it's not a place I go to, Mark, that somebody doesn't say, oh, you're the guy that does Ask the Chimney Sweep.
Yeah.
And it's been good. We've helped a lot of people. We're up to about 6.5 million views on it now.
Wow. Are you serious?
Very much so.
6.5 million views on Ask the Chimney. I remember when you started it.
Yeah.
And you're like, you had a lot of plans for trying to do that. And wow, that's amazing. How many years have you been doing that?
13.
No kidding. Wow.
I jumped out there, Mark. I was looking for, I was trying to make some videos, and they're all about $2,500. I don't need to do this. So I got more ideas than they do. I just got to find someone that can edit it.
Yeah.
So I found a girl at the local high school up here. She was 16. She had boots up to her knees and crazy looking kid. And I said, can you do editing? She said, grab your phone like this. And I did that one. That was me.
Wow.
It was that quick. And she came in and sat down with one of her buddies. And I hired them both, and they were with me for about 2 years, and they're both still in video editing for the government.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You got them off to the right foot.
I think they got me off on the right foot.
Well, that's great. Do you still make videos for that, or you kind of put an into that?
Well, I'll tell you what I did, Mark. I'm actually going to start redoing them again. I'm going to start making them. With AI, I can actually repurpose them.
Yeah.
Make shorts also. So I got a project going on. That's what I'm working on. I'm not a 911 rush, but it's going to happen. I'm going to make the thing happen and reboot it, kick in the butt, and make it happen again. That's what we always do.
Nice.
That's been good.
So, hey guys, it's a two-way conversation on this iPad. I'm not sure if I'm seeing any comments, so please feel free to reach out. I'm going to be checking my phone to see if they're coming in this way because I'm on a different thing. Let me make sure this doesn't feed back. And let's see. Anyway, I'll try to watch for some of these. Let me just start here. SureFire Live. Okay, so anyway, so let's talk about your idea and really what you brought to the industry many years ago. And I guess when I was writing the description for the show over 20 years ago, like tell people what's that? 26 years ago. Wow. So tell everybody kind of what your idea was a long time ago, what it turned into, and what we're talking about really.
Well, I was talking to my buddy Steve Piatla, and he said, Clay, you start that right after the Portland HPBA.
Okay.
The NCSG, excuse me.
Portland, okay.
Yes, and he had some ideas. They were looking at some other things, and I said, I'm going to go find out. So I got a hold of a contractor up the road here, and he runs a big HVAC contracting company, and he actually came to our first mixed group, and he told everybody what was going on, and that really helped a lot because he launched us, and it was really a good thing. But I want to find a way, because I'm sure most of our listeners right now would tell us that they hear so much information in the halls, or when they're having breakfast, or when they're just sitting there having a drink at night, just something. They all run into somebody, and some of the best ideas are exchanged in the hallways.
Right.
That's what initiated.
Yeah.
Our buddy Steve Blackburn, he's no longer with us, but he says, go do it, Clay. Go do it, Clay. And he's always flapping my wings for me. But he's a wonderful guy. Just a lovely guy.
For sure. So mix means management information exchange.
It did back then, but I just moved it over to Mastermind Information Exchange.
Exactly. I like that.
And the purpose is everybody knows what a mastermind is. You don't have to explain the thing.
Right.
And it opens up the Broadway, and I think there's so many masterminds out there, which is just another one on the pot for a specific industry. That's what I'm focused at.
So with that, you brought that to us. Now there's a handful of mixed groups out there. Hope Stevenson does a lot of things with them.
Yeah.
Then, and you were in one for a very long time. Same with me. And then now recently you have a new idea of taking it a lot online, and you're going to form several of these groups. And I know a lot of times people couldn't get into the old mixed group because you could only have so many people. And then do you have enough to start another one? So tell people what your idea with this group is, and then maybe we'll get into some stories of some wins and losses.
Well, I've got a good one here, brother.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, thank you, Mark. But what it is, the Mastermind Information Exchange, what I'm doing with this is taking it online. I mean, since COVID, everybody's had an opportunity to be online at some time or another. So it's not uncommon, be it Zoom or Whereby or some other ones. There's a number of out there, another platform. But I wanted to do it that I have one 40-minute meeting a month, but all during that month, I'm reaching out and talking to them. I'm going to bring them into a small Facebook group, which will be essentially 8 groups of 7 companies.
Okay.
So there'll be 56 companies in that thing, one way or the other. And I've got about 9 people I'm looking at right now talking to. So it's going to grow. We know that for sure. But how we want to grow it is the most important thing.
So real quick, I've got a couple comments. Hey, Mark and Clay, from Ryan. And then another Facebook user, can't see who it is. He says Steve Blackburn and Clay Lamb, and there's all lovey-dovey hearts around it. So somebody out there loves you, Clay. So why should somebody join this? What's the benefit?
Well, the biggest thing is, Mark, it's lonely at the top. And there isn't anybody that runs a company that can't talk to their employees about everything. I don't care if it's the finances or hiring or who they're going to fire, but you need somebody to talk to. And that's not uncommon in every business. But the mastermind principle to me is that we exchange information with like and kind peer people, the
Right.
same level. They're running a business, they're trying to expand it, they're trying to reach their goals that they've got a vision for, but they can't talk to everybody in their company about it.
Well, yeah, how can you? So, I've got my own story on the mixed groups that I will probably just, you asked me to say something about mixed groups for your, when you're starting this, and I can just tell you that for 17 years, pretty much, I was kind of on an island. I just did my thing. And it was way before Facebook and these other things were and I just kind of built my own thing. And then in 2003, when I had an accident, I happened to start to reach out to some people and look at some things. And I started to grow a business, and I got up to like $1.2 million. And then I heard about mixed groups and, John Meredith.
Yeah.
And I knew Steve Blackburn just a little bit. I don't think I knew you yet, but they're like, hey, you might want to look at joining. We'd like to have you join this group. And when I joined it, I was struggling. I was about to crash the business. But I thought it was like a lifeline. And you guys, when I got in and talked to you for the first time and heard you talk, Clay, about business and how it was and what you did and what you didn't do and kind of what you put up with and what you didn't put up with. And, you're a big hearted guy, but you had a like a tough love kind of feel. And I'd never been around leaders like that. And I felt really inadequate. I felt like I shouldn't be there, but I also realized it's exactly where I needed to be. And then I proceeded to crash the business. The group didn't save me. The group showed me what I was wrong at, but it still didn't save me from going off the cliff. 2008 happened. And then you guys came in 2009, and I've written that book that you picked up at the dollar store. Yeah, I can't believe you have that. In 2009, that's when you came to my meeting and smashed me. I can't believe you have that. And you didn't. It was all love, but that was what you guys were so good at. Was just had that. You tore me apart, and you said, Mark, these things is why you crashed this thing, and here's the things you need to fix. And I'll tell you,
can't take pain, don't get in a mixed group.
yeah, oh, totally,
Expect the love and the pain.
yeah. And you never have to worry about Clay, stabbing you in the back. He'll stab you right in the forehead, when he's got to tell you when he's going to tell you something. But no, it was really it was very instrumental in the change of what we did and how we did it. And it was really due to Mastermind Groups, your group with you, and how that works. So I could not be more thankful. Couple of little things. Love Clay. I used Ask the Chimney Sweep to help train telemarketers a long time ago and office folks at Blackburns. I think this might be Debbie. Yeah.
We love her.
Yeah, we do love Debbie. So talk about that. You've been in now hundreds of these meetings. What do you see? What do you see with companies?
I see a lot of pain. People don't know what to talk about, where to go with things in life. And you're pretty much on the agenda. One of the most important issues any group I find is what was the most important thing that you got out of this mixture? Maybe 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days. What was a one nugget of gold that you can take back, and it pays for the whole thing?
Yeah.
Wherever I go to someplace, Mark, I always look for that one nugget. There's something that's going to pay my bill for everything plus more. It always happens, but you got to keep your eyes open.
Yeah.
And it's talking in the hallways again, Mark, even those things. But in a mix group, as you're going around, you have a hot seat around somebody. Hot seat being somebody's being challenged. What are they doing? We know there's a problem. We've been in their business. We understand their numbers. How can we help them is the biggest thing.
Yeah, like when you came, there's no hiding. Like when you have companies come in and they're not there to praise you. I mean, they will praise you, but that's not the main reason. They're there typically, of some problems you have, but also, what I found is they uncovered problems I didn't know I had. Yeah. Like when you really kept asking and looking around and poking around, some of it was embarrassing. I didn't know my financials, and you guys, that was a big part of knowing what percentages to do everything and how to do this and how to lead people. That was kind of the main thing. And then, just talking to other people, what I realized was everybody has the same problems. Like you either have the same problems, you have the same problems, or you're getting ready to go through that problem.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
There's nothing new here.
Nothing new under the sun. Nothing.
It's nothing new, but talking to somebody else who's been through it and has an answer, or an experience share where they say, this is what we did to overcome it. I had something similar. This is what we did. This is how we did it. It's just, people think these Facebook groups or podcasts or, any of the ways we kind of communicate now is the same. And it really isn't. We have a mastermind with SureFire, and it's full, so we don't have any more. but that kind of communication, real time, back and forth with each other, is just so amazing to see what everybody's going through, and somebody in the group has an answer.
Therein lies something, Mark. The amount of communications between other members to other members, be it online. I'm going to call somebody. I called Mark Rizzo the other night in California. He's been not in a service company for years, but I just picked up where I left off. Kevin DeLucia, I hadn't talked to him, picked up the phone. We picked up right where we left off. And that's the beauty of the relationships. It's real. It's real. The pains of the family, what's going on. And it's up at the top, so you don't have to mix with your employees. It's important to know your employees and know their children things, but you also need a free zone where you can share ideas and wisdom and see how they're doing the same processes, but just a switch different. Just a little bit different.
Well, and like you said, you've got a group of people that are like your peers, not employees, not family, not even somebody that's outside the industry. You talk chimney and you talk the exact same language, and sometimes somebody's ahead of you and sometimes somebody's behind you. And sometimes within the group, people start either lowering down or passing each other up, but we cheer each other on, right?
Sometimes you grab their hand and pull them forward.
Exactly. Like, come on. Those are hard conversations. Like, hey, man, you've been in this group for 3 years and you're in the same spot.
You haven't fixed that problem yet?
Like, why are you in this group if you're not willing to change anything, A couple questions, and I don't know if you want to answer this yet.
Fire them at me. I'll try.
What's the cost of the mastermind group? And I'm going to put links for Clay in a little bit, how to contact him and everything. But so what are you talking about here?
We're $269 a month.
Okay.
$269 a month. And it's less than a chimney sweep.
Yeah.
You can't find a chimney sweep, and I guarantee you for the whole year, if you didn't find one extra liner, shame on you. You need to come meet at your house.
Yes.
You better be ready. I'm going to find back door. I'm going to help you. Well, I don't know all the answers, but I know where to get them.
Yeah.
I do know where to get them.
So for $269, lay out what the commitment is. How does it work?
Okay, what they do, you're going to put a link in there, and it'll send. Do you think you got it there?
Oh, yeah, let me put it up here real quick. I'm on an iPad, so okay. So here is. You want me to do this one where they would go?
It's online. That's fine. And they've got my phone number, Mark. They can call me. Anybody can call me at any time. I'm in Eastern time, but I'm an early bird. I get up real early. I'm an obnoxious early person. Obnoxious. It's $269 a month. My associate just fired us at me. She said it's $269.
Nice. 190-minute monthly call, and then support. Raise that up a little bit. Support what? Support group. Yeah, right.
Yep.
You got a group of people. Great. And you get to know each other, $269 a month, and then they will, and you're going to have a group of about 7 companies, right? And then you'll break off and start.
No, I'm going to have 7 groups, 7 companies in a group. That's the right size for me.
Okay.
Like everybody gets a turn. Somebody's going to sit on a hot seat. We're going to feel what we can do. And you'll take a video of what your company looks like to help the other people dissect what's in your company. What's good.
Right.
Tell us your pain points. Now, I figure, Mark, with my schedule, I can handle probably 8 groups of 7. That's 56 slots. And I know what's going to happen. I just hope it blows up, and I'm excited about it. I'm really confident. I mean, just by nature, I'm obnoxious. Let's go get it. Let's make it happen.
So it wasn't Debbie earlier. It was Brenda. So
oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Sweetheart.
Glad that. Thank you for saying that. And then Joe Gomez says, "Great initiative." Yeah, it is a cool initiative, and I think so. With that, in the old mixed groups, we couldn't be competitors with each other. Part of the deal was based. You still have
Same thing,
uh,
Mark.
so what are the rules around it?
Well, it's you got to be 90 miles away from anybody in that group. That doesn't mean you can't join another group. That's why I've got these out there like that. And I know that I'm already talking to somebody that we're probably going to jump this to the West Coast and Central Time also. We're probably going to open that up. But I want to get this one locked and loaded where we're at. But the biggest thing is, can I find a time that fits your scheduling? I'm starting to I thought it was going to be like lunchtime and 3:30 or 4 o'clock, but I'm starting to hear more 7 o'clock in the morning. It's just, you got the right guy here.
Right. Yeah. And that was a thing that we had to work on, is what's good for everybody. And it's hard to get everybody together. And it doesn't even mean that, that each of those groups are going to be the same. It's where they're located and how much, how it all works. But so with that, with the Zoom call, are there, with the people joining, is there a certain size they have to be? Can they be a one truck? Do they can't be bigger than this? Or
That's a real good question, Mark. Let's put it this way. I'm at the lower. No, I'm for the guy with the 150 pickup truck, and yours one driving Teslas.
Well, so there's really no
Yeah.
size for you.
What's that?
There's really no size for you. There's not a certain size to get in this group.
And Lord have mercy, if there's just starting, can't figure it, I'll bring them in. I'll put them in a group. I'll talk with them. I'll help them bring them up. I'm all about helping people. If I can help you get your head together in the game, I've had enough bumps and bruises, and we can go about that later on in life. And if it wasn't for my mixed group, I probably would have went nuts. I think I've had just so everybody understands, I had a fatality in my company. My mixed group loved and hugged on me all the way through that and got me through that mess. And it really was important to me.
You were the first guy I ever knew that had a fatality on the job site of anybody. And there's not many of them, but Jim Brewer was another one. I know we're all good friends, but man, that was talk about that for a second, about not necessarily details, but how the mixed group and the people around you helped you through that.
Well, first off, they could hear the tears in my heart. They knew it was devastating. I lost a friend. It was devastating. And it was a 7-year process, Mark. 7 years. And I was actually sued for wrongful death, but I was dismissed. Duke Energy finally took it over. I guess they had much deeper pockets, and there was more evidence of some of the things they should have done.
Right.
Either way, folks, we took OSHA a lot more seriously. I lost, and I'm going to say this was worth. I totaled up about $400,000, Mark. About 400 grand between cash and stocks, bonds, house, moving things around. I lost it all. And I hit the restart button. And my wife, and I'm going to tell you what, Mark, there's 2 things that I came out with. 2 things. One, my relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. And number 2, my wife. That's all I can do anything. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, that was, that's an amazing story. And for those of you who don't, he had a technician get electrocuted on a scaffolding, right?
That's right. Well, what it was, Mark, it was in a foggy morning. And everybody know this. I hope you know it. The union workers that work around power lines can call the job if it's real foggy, because fog will transmit from a bare copper line over through the air and hit that scaffolding and went down.
Wow.
And it went through and crisscrossed the guy who was putting up scaffolding, but he didn't touch it. It wasn't close enough to touch it, but it arced over just like lightning. It went over to him, hit that metal thing, went down the scaffolding. The other guy was sitting there holding a cup of coffee, and I won't get gross. It's pretty sad, but it killed me just instantly.
I knew a guy that was through fog. He was actually working in a restaurant, and he had a huge power line came by for this whole like an area of town that had a big mall in it. So a huge power line coming through, and he was reaching out there and unwinding an awning, because the upstairs is place, and he unwound that, and it arced across and hit him, and it blew his feet off. And he was never the same. He's in a wheelchair. And so, not to go down a sidetrack, but man, that fog and electricity is crazy.
Mark, if we can tell our guests here, if they got fog issues, they need to bring it up to employees. Don't work in the fog. If it's thick, don't do it.
Wow.
It will go right through it like a cop.
That's exactly
I
right.
hope everybody hears what we're talking about tonight.
Yeah.
It's important.
I didn't realize that happened because of fog. I've known this story, but I didn't realize fog had to do with it. I thought they hit something, but they didn't hit
Union
anything.
worker told me that. That's what it was. It was too
Wow.
close. It couldn't have been that. So he told me, union worker told me that.
Well, talk about that, what it's like as an owner. I mean, again, this is part of what I always found valuable was just being vulnerable with other owners and being open and being real. Like sometimes I was surprised at how we all talked in there about getting super real with it's not, chest pounding exercise. It's not look at me. Like that to me is some of the most real talks you can get into.
No, most definitely, Mark. There's been other issues. We talk about things and employee issues and what we need to do, how we need to deal with it. That you can bounce your ideas. If somebody and I've done a lot of counseling in prison and jails, and the biggest thing I found, Mark, is hold the mirror up. Most people can answer the questions, just like in your business. You probably have a pretty good grip what the answer is, but it's good to run it by somebody that's got your back.
Yeah. One of the things we should always do as people, but especially as business owners, is even challenge our own opinions. Like we're real quick to challenge other people's opinions on business and how they do it. And we almost never run our own opinions through the same scrutiny. And when you're with a group of people that you trust and, everybody is there for each other, your opinions can be challenged, and you can be hard. Yeah, they will be for sure.
So get ready, folks. If you want to make or accelerator, get ready.
Yeah, it's not a thing for egos. Like it really isn't. But it is, it is because you got your own, as a business owner, you've got your own crap that you tell yourself it's not right.
You think it's right until you expose it to 9, 10 other people. They go,
Yeah. And that's a tough when you open yourself up to it and realize that they're helping you and you don't, again, my famous story is SpongeBob Stoner.
Yeah, I was gonna get you if you didn't do that.
Yeah. Well, you should tell it from the other side. I've told that story for years, but you were there.
There's a listener who doesn't know it.
What's that?
I'll guarantee you there's one of our listeners that doesn't know SpongeBob's story.
Well,
go ahead, Mark.
Well, you were there, so make sure, because sometimes our memory, and I've told this story a lot, and if you've heard it, please bear with me. But a quick thing, the mixed group came in after I'm starting to rebuild the business, and they're looking at all my systems, they're interviewing my people, and unfortunately, one of the things in business is to be a really nice guy. A really nice guy, me, was just getting run over. I mean, I'd ruin the business. I'd start over because I was just so nice and I really didn't want to hold people accountable. And all of my policies or all of my standard operating procedures were kind of just real spongy. They're really, yeah, you might as well not even have them. Because, you can have an attendance policy, you can have a quality workmanship, you can have a thing. And trust me, I still struggle with this a bit, but I'm a million times better than I was where you were. Well, you guys came in and you hadn't called me this name yet, but you were saying, dude, you're just so spongy. You're just so, one of your problems is you have no rules matter. And so we go to dinner. And how did you guys find that blow up thing? Who found that thing?
I think it was Kev DeLucia.
Are you serious?
I think he's the one who found it. Him and Rocky probably found it and brought it that night.
I couldn't believe. So we go to dinner and it's one of those blow up things with like sand in the bottom that has weight. And they just put it in the middle of us and they all started punching and say, this is Mark. And they called me SpongeBob Stoner Pants. It was a SpongeBob knockdown thing, and then it was SpongeBob Stoner Pants, and it was, I'd say this a bunch, I was laughing through my tears. Basically, it was tough on the ego, but I needed it. Like, yeah. I'm like, dude, I have to take it. This is real. This is absolutely, they're right.
Mark, you knew everybody loved you and cared about you. That's sure. The whole thing. And folks, that's what happens in a mixed group is people are starting to get real pure, right? I hate to say it, you're almost naked before everybody. They know your life. They know what's going down.
Yeah. Well, and that's the best thing. It's like you go to the doctor, you don't hide what's not right in the company. You tell or what's right with you, your health. Same with a mixed group. You just be real about it. And one, you get respected more. And two, people will naturally want to help you because they do care. But that is some of the hardest lessons and people calling you on your crap that you've ever had. For me, for sure.
Yeah, don't ever tell somebody, well, we put on 1,000 caps last year, and they go, your numbers don't match that at all.
Yeah. Be real. A couple comments real quick. Well, Orion says we're talking about the lightning. We had this happened back when I did commercial windows, and the power jumped from a big line and hit our Zoom boom, took one of our guys out. Yeah. Somebody else said, this is great. I didn't realize that fog could do that. So hopefully you've learned that.
If they listen all night long, it's not about me or you. It's about the lesson they learned that could save a life. It's well worth it.
Yeah. And then Ryan also says, and be humble enough to receive criticism as well as implement advice. The knowledge you have got you to where you are, but it won't take you any further. Yeah, that's exactly right. And a lot of times in these mixed groups, and you can talk about this too, you've been into probably hundreds of companies now. I know my own answer, but I would like you to answer first. What do you think the biggest problem in the companies are that you visit? Like, what do you think it is?
Pride and arrogance.
Yeah. Yeah. The owner.
Come on, you're full of crap. What do you do? You're get real here. Let's help you out, man. We're here to help you. We just spent money to get to your door. We undressed you mentally. What's going on in your head? You've got the tools and the people. Let's get them lined up right to go down the line again.
Yeah.
We can do this.
When I would go in, you would see, once you were there and talked to them enough, you could see something sometimes they couldn't see. You could see bottlenecks and bottlenecks in places, and usually it's the owner creating some of these bottlenecks. Won't get out of the way. It's almost always, because again, I heard a guy say at the Linneman University thing, he said, your system is perfectly systemized. You don't need to change anything in your company at all to deliver the results that you're getting. Right? It's perfectly set up to give you the results you're getting. But if you want a different result, then that's where you're going to have to question almost all the systems you've put in place, or many of the systems anyway. And I thought, and that's what these mixed groups do, is they challenge your idea of systems. And now it is a mastermind. You've got 10 brains or 7 brains working on your brain to make better decisions. Maybe not, do that thing and step off a cliff. Maybe have a little more information before you go into that negotiation, or how do I pay my people right, or what's fair on commission structures, or how do you sell this, or what CRMs are you using, that kind of thing.
How many people tell you, Mark, I think I need another truck? I said, I think you need to get your average ticket higher.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's
number one. That's truth teller.
I remember you guys ran me through that number game right off the bat. Steve Piala, I think, did it, but I think you guys did it as a group. And at the time, I was a $1.2 million company, but I had 17 employees. And right off the bat, I walked in and, Steve Piala's like, you're broke. Like, I'm $1 million. What are you talking about? But yes, I was. He said, you got too many people. You got 17 people on 1.2 million. You've got to have, at the time, he's like you got to have $125,000 minimum per full-time employee. I'm like, oh my God, if that's the case, then I need to be 2+ million.
Yeah. And
I would have some money. I would have some money after that. And I've used some of those numbers and rounded them up now. To me, it's like $165,000 gross per full-time employee. But that was the quickest dressing down I've ever seen. He looked at 2 things, my employees and my revenue.
The numbers don't work.
They don't work, bro. You don't have no money. So he's like, you're obviously good at marketing. You're obviously good at getting people around, but you're broke doing it. I'm like, golly, this is rough.
And mixed groups, if they're worth their weight, they're really getting to your heart. Like, what is going on here? We can help you. And most people can shoot from what they screwed up in. Oh, I'm really good to tell you what I screwed up on. I don't mind telling you, man, I messed that one up big time.
Yeah.
What is it fixed?
Couple more comments. Grateful to my mixed group who helped our company and after Steve passed away. The mixed group continues to make sure I grow. I appreciate the information sharing among the mixed members. The group is a great resource. Debbie Weeball. Hey, Debbie.
We love her. We love you, Debbie.
Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, Debbie was a great example of that. You know, we were there when Steve passed. We was coming to a mixed group meeting and he passed, and Debbie leaned out to all of us because she wasn't ready to take.
And I think we need to give Debbie a round of applause. She has grown that company so unbelievable. She's an amazing woman.
Well, and I think, to what she's saying is the power of a group that she trusted. She knew we loved Steve and loved her. And she's like, well, what's the next step? And then she would take it. And then what's the next step? And she would take it. And how do I do this? And she would ask it out and she would do it. Debbie was a great implementer.
She soars like an eagle now.
Yeah.
She's an amazing woman.
Yeah. And again, she's done amazing things. And again, not to keep pulling it back, but I believe in, as she said, and I will say, these groups are key to a lot of times your health, you're getting through the tough times.
Right.
Everybody wants to help, and when you have people that you really trust, that's a big part of that.
And that's it. And that gets called out. If you don't trust them, you're going to get called. And I always laugh at the cap thing. I can't tell you how many times that 1,000 cap crap.
Oh,
your numbers don't match. But I've seen that kind of stuff go on. Or we got to do this, and these guys do that. Really? That's not what he just told me in a warehouse.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Yeah. For sure.
So you tell your guys tell the truth.
Tommy Ryan said, hey, Mark. Hey, Clay. Clay has been a mentor for years, and you won't find a more genuine person. Dude has energy to share, and he's a wealth of knowledge.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Tommy. Tommy's another one of those guys who is around. He's second generation. Dad started the business. Tommy and his brother Jake have taken it on, and I've actually had him on this show, I believe. But Tommy will tell you, hey, I'm struggling with this. Hey, this is not working. Hey, what do I do here? And Tommy's one of those guys that's very open and real with his business.
He's real.
Yeah, for sure. And great guy, great family guy, trying to build a good business, man. It's tough. It's super tough. There's like, I always say, you don't get to just sit back and watch the money roll in with your feet up. It's a battle every day. Dig for it. I mean, hopefully it's different battles, but man, I mean, it's a battle. Here it says Debbie is amazing. I think that might be Brenda, because those are the two ones I can't see their thing. Great to see Clay in the house. You got some fans on here, Clay.
I'm very fortunate. Well, some people call me Methuselah.
I mean, I might have said that.
That's an inside joke. The other day, Mark from the stage says, and Methuselah, and he was talking about me. Thanks. I appreciate that.
I was trying to see how long everybody been in the business. And Clay's been around since Methuselah, so he's really an OG. Diane says mixed groups are not a group of warm and fuzzy peers.
That's Diane Pilger.
Yeah, Diane Pilger. Yeah. She said they are brutally honest during the process that it scares you. And then the dreaded employee interview. Clay was our first facilitator. We'll talk about that. I don't know that you're going to get into that on these online, but talk about the importance of that.
About me too?
Oh, yeah, about the employee interviews.
Well, it'll be interesting how we have to do these with online versus at the door. But I also have a link on my website. You'll see it, employee survey. So you can go on, you can get that, look at the top. I think it's upper right-hand corner. You can actually see the questions that all the people will answer. All their employees will do it. That's on mixed groups. On my
mixedgroups.online. I got your banner. I got you, bro.
Thanks, man.
There we go. Right there. But so again, I don't know exactly how you're going to do it, but man, the employee interviews, I remember a group came in and they're like, this is back, I got the rainbows and unicorns thing. I believe in what could be. And then this lady's like, yeah, after the employee interviews, you're probing not to have them brag on everything. You're like, what would you fix if this were your company? What would you do differently if you were in charge? What's some of the biggest problems? So it comes back as kind of negative a lot. There's a negative vibe about it. And then, so this one lady's like, well, after interviewing your employees, this kind of sounds terrible. I thought it was going to be rainbows and unicorns here. I'm like, I said, this is business, blue collar business. It's not rainbows and unicorns. And we have our 10 problems and you have your 10 problems. They might be different, but I have problems. I don't have it. It's not like a perk. It's not, utopia over here. It's work, So what have you seen? We've been in the middle of some really rough employee interviews.
Well, here's the thing about employee interviews. You have to be careful that you read it right. Are they really saying something that's truthful? Are they just picking a bone at you? And I'm always amazed that when they didn't sign their name, the owner will go, oh, I know who wrote that. I know who wrote that.
Well, we would come out and we'd say, look, we are here for the owner and you. We are taking back information that we're going to gather and tell them information, but we won't put your name on it. And sometimes, in your company who's got certain issues with the way things run. And also it's one side of the story, right? We understand that. And we also understood that it was a snapshot. We're just seeing you for 2 days right now in the middle of things. And you can't make a million decisions on that, but you're really trying to look at common problems that is holding the company back.
Exactly right, Mark. And it's interesting that those employees are the ones that make you, but they can break you if you don't twist them right in the right direction. Like, we got our head on straight right here?
Well, and we were in one guy's business and the employees were turning on him. And they were all turning on him to have a coup. And he knew it. He felt it. He's like, hey, man, something is happening inside this company. And I don't know what it is. I'd like you guys to figure it out. And it wasn't long when we figured out they were starting their own company inside his company. And he had a lot of desertion. Yeah. And we hated it. But we also gave him a plan to address it. And he did. He came in there and addressed it.
Mark, that's a really good point. I'm glad you brought that up. The mixer comes in. They don't just point fingers and kick you and bite you. They're there to help put bandages on your problem, help solve it. You walk away with a plan.
For sure. Well, that's a great point. And I don't know exactly how the onlines work, but how you'll work it. But, you guys, you'll have to come up with solutions to problems, and that you do have, here's quick 5 things to do or try to fix that problem.
There'll be 56 companies looking at these things, Mark, because I guarantee you what's going to happen. When I put them in a Facebook group, they're going to be able to share. They're only separated for a time for a one-time meeting trying to unravel the problems and then figure out what it is. Then we bring in solutions. But they're all going to be going into, there'll be about 56 companies that will be talking and sharing some ideas. Yeah. That's the thing. I want to share something with you, Mark. Our good friend Charlie Quayle has passed. He was a North Carolina man, a man of much integrity. We loved him dearly, and he passed away. But Charlie gave me something. We were at a mixed group at my office, and he sent something to me, and it was a picture. I wish I had the picture. It's a barn on fire.
I remember.
He says, Clay, your barn's on fire. I went, oh, crap. And he was right. My numbers are really, really bad.
Yeah.
And my wife and I regrouped on some things. And when we retired, we owed no one nothing.
Wow.
Everything was paid off. Buildings were paid off. They're ours. But we listened to that conversation. I still have that picture someplace upstairs. I'm probably trying to hide it. But if your barn's on fire, folks, get some help and get it fixed.
Well, again, for you, that rang true, but you didn't really feel it. Like, it wasn't until he called you out on it.
Oh, he called me out big time. Hey, yeah. I run these things. What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, and I didn't realize I called him out on something too years before that when I first met him and we're talking and I'm like, he's telling me all about his business and his life, and it sounds amazing. And he's, I think he's approaching his 60s at the time. And I'm like, well, what's the plan? Like, he's like, what do you mean, what's the plan? I'm like, okay, you're here. So what's the plan? Are you getting out? Are you selling? Are you like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh my God. He goes, I don't know. And then he joined the mixed group, and talk about a guy who got really laser focused. He wasn't really focused on growing. He was
Did
focused.
he bring the
on
lean
protecting.
concept in for us?
He did. He brought in Bob Arbel.
Yeah,
that's right. He learned lean, brought Bob in, leaned out his operation, and he came to my operation. And Bob went around and leaned out a lot of people's operations.
And if somebody hasn't heard of that, there's other people haven't heard of that. They should get some books. You have a book or two you can recommend, Mark?
Well, there's the 1 minute lean, which is, again, this is Toyota manufacturing process to basically systemize everything, everything in a place for everything and everything in its place, and a flow of how everything should work. And we've had these experts come into our warehouses, come into our offices. I had to come into CSIA when I was president and lean out the process. And when you get in with a person who really understands the principles, it's an ongoing thing too, right? It's an ongoing, a constant improvement process. Our morning meetings are based around that, return trips and safety and how much money did we make, and what yesterday was like, kind of a data gathering. And we learned all that from lean process.
Yeah, I think Charlie brought that into us. It really helped all of us. We all took pieces of it. So I know you did an extremely good program with what you did. And I brought a lot of it into mine. It helps a lot.
Yeah.
And just to be aware that these are problems, and these are dollars flying out the window with a fan behind us. Shoo, shoo.
Charlie said it was really interesting, and it was part of the lean thing. He said, imagine the waste that you have every day. And let's just say that's, you had a wrong address and you went to the wrong house. And then let's just say you forgot, an elbow back at the shop, or you left a tool on a job, or whatever those things are. Imagine your hourly rate for a 2-man crew. Let's just say, for easy numbers, it's $300 an hour. And you wasted 30 minutes here and an hour there on one day. And imagine if you took that cash and you put it in a fishbowl every day. You took that cash of waste. Where do we see waste? And you added, what did that cost us? Say opportunity cost. What could we been doing?
There it is. That's the key. That's the word.
Yeah.
That's the word I was hoping you say. People say $150 an hour. That's opportunity cost. You're lost. It's gone.
That's right. And now the real cost was, let's just say it's, you pay your guys $20 an hour times 2, $40 an hour. But the opportunity cost, money you could have made, put that in a fishbowl. Man, that gets pretty sickening pretty quick when you look at all the waste that happens every day. And then, so the lean process is identify the waste and try to get rid of it. Try to get it out through systemizing what the waste was.
Right.
A couple of things, Joe Gomez, and this, I want to add to what he's going to say here, because we just had a big conference with a German master chimney sweep, and I want to talk about what he said. But Joe says, as I sit here and listen to this in the UK, I can't help but feel the UK could learn a huge amount by this approach. We have a different business model, but there are some great opportunities and learnings to be had. I do hope Clay will come back and provide an update.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah, that's super cool, Joe. Thank you. And I want to talk about that real quick. So Andreas Gartner, he's a chimney master out of Germany. He spent all last week with me. He stayed at my house, but then he went to our accelerator group when they came into my business, and then we went to HPBA together, and he sat through all the classes. And then then I had a 2-day. I taught the 2-day advanced inspection class. And he heard us talking. He heard me talking the whole week. He's like, wow. He goes, I don't even know what you guys are talking about. He said, your conversations are so different about business than we have. We're all technical, and that's all we are. But he said, when you moved into the technical side, when you did the advanced inspection class that John Caesar created, He said, wow. He said, that was as good as anything we go through in Germany. He said, but you guys have a business side that we don't even talk like this. Now, some of it they don't have to, because they've got territories and they don't do marketing, and they don't have as many people working for them. But you're right, Joe, to this is what you guys need, I think. And I don't know, UK's stuff so much, but I watch your guys post, and you guys like to fight with each other a lot. We like to fight too. We fight differently with each other, but I think the thought process of together is better than everybody pointing the fingers and running everybody down. Building true businesses that don't have to have the business owner doing all the work his whole life and then die broke. Like, that's really, Joe, what we're talking about is how do you build a business that doesn't have to have you? You know, and then that's a true business, right? If you build a business that has to have you, you've built yourself a job. That's not a business, right? Old Michael Gerber stuff. But good point, Joe. Thank you for that. Chad Murray says hi. He's just tuning in. Hey, Chad, thanks for joining. Diane says, you're given a plan, but it won't be successful if you don't work.
Amen.
And the follow-up at the next meeting is where your accountability is questioned. Do you do anything? Let's see, did you do anything, or was it just the same old, same old? Yeah, that's
good. Yeah, because when you're challenged in there and it's written, you come back and one of the first things, Diane's exactly right. You're going to be challenged. Did you fix that problem, or does it still stink?
Yep.
Did you fix it?
Did you fire that person? Did you implement that thing? Did you have, a lot of it is accountability as owners, that we don't want to hold people accountable. Or when the mixed group came in, I'll give you an example, because it's the first time they came in, and you probably remember this, but it's been a minute, 14 years ago. But you guys, I had a problem with an employee, and this one employee had called the EPA on me. And if you remember, what happened was we had a bucket of oil. We did our oil changes in the shop, and the mechanic put it in a 5-gallon bucket. He'd change out the van oil, and it had sat in the corner of the warehouse, and it got some dirt in it. But we were planning on taking it to be recycled. Well, when we took it up to the recycling place, they wouldn't take it because it had dirt in it. We would have needed to cover it, and they said, it's got stuff in it, we can't take it. Well, my guy came back with it, and before thinking, he put it in a dumpster. He dumped it on a dumpster, right? Well, not a terrible decision. I told him, I said, dude, why would you do that? Not what you do. And I kind of verbally said something to him, but there was another guy in my company that was my production or warehouse manager at the time. And he's like, I didn't know, but he didn't think I reprimanded him as enough. He's like, I can't believe you didn't really fire him for that. And this guy been with me 10 years, and we put a bucket of, I said, have you ever watched them pave the road? Have you ever seen the tens of thousands of gallons they spray on the road of just raw oil before? Like, do you understand? I mean, yes, I don't agree with it. Well, he didn't say any more, but he called the EPA on me. And the EPA came in and they said, hey, you've got a complaint on you. Are you changing oil? Or you doing? I said, no. I said, I had one employee dump a bucket of oil. He goes, well, it sounds like it's a disgruntled employee. Well, and sure enough, I said, man, the EPA thinks it's one of my employees called them on me. And the guy's like, it was me. I'm like, what? Well, you guys came in right after that. And you're like, you can't trust him. 1, and 2, he's probably going to start his own business. After talking to him, he's probably about to start his own business on you. And sure enough, I fired him, right? I said, you can't fire him for that, but I basically looked for a reason and sure enough, I fired him. And about a year later, I go outside my business, and all of his equipment is sitting outside outside my gate with chimney caps and vacuums and everything. He said, man, I'm stopping my business. I'm going to give you all my stuff because I ripped you off so bad while I was working there. Your mixed group came in and said to fire me, and I know and he said they were right. He said I was bad news, and they picked up on it. And he went through like a 12-step program.
Did he?
And he went through that, and that was part of his, repentance, or one of his steps. And he gave me all his stuff. And
that was part of his cleanup program.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, again, another mixed group story, you guys told me to fire him. You were so right. I wasn't even thinking that way, but you helped shine a light on that problem. And it was one of the keys to me, moving on with another person and, fixing the problem.
I had a barn to fix.
You had a barn?
I had a barn to fix, rebuild.
Well, so somebody says, finally made time to watch you guys. Hey, thank you for coming. Jeremiah McNeese, he works for me now. He's like, wow. Yeah, that was the production or warehouse manager before Chris Adair, Jeremiah.
He's a great guy. Chris, a great guy.
Love Chris. Wish he still was in Nashville, but he's not. Let me put up that we got about 5 more minutes. Guys, if you have any more questions for Clay, please ask them. Let me put up all your contact information. This is Clay's phone number, 513-616-2300. And then so his
They're better off texting me, Mark. I don't mind if they call me, but they're better off texting me and I'll get a conversation with, but I will call back.
Perfect. And then you've got Clay at mixedgroups.online, Clay at mixedgroupsonline.com. And then lastly, the website to get information is mixedgroupsonline.com.
And also, Mark, if they want to fill an application out, they can do that online. It'll kick back into me. I'll get it.
Okay.
And peruse it and ask me any questions. I'll be very upfront about what's going on. And you've done a great job of emceeing this thing, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Is there a certain date that this is going to kick off? Is there a deadline?
I want to do it after the NCSG. It'll probably be sometime in April. It looked like first part of April. And I'm going to probably set up 4 groups or 8 groups of 7. That's my mission. That's where I'm going to be. I'll get there eventually. And that's the right number because I can only handle so much. There's a lot more than just 90 minutes. You know how much they're backstage.
Oh, yeah.
Have to do.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I want to do.
So are you having a booth? Are you speaking at NCSG and do you have a booth there?
Yeah, they don't like me.
Oh, I thought you were going to speak there. Okay. Okay. Well, are you going to be there?
I plan on it. Yes, I plan.
Okay. So maybe people can look you up. Please reach out to Clay. He's been a wealth of knowledge for me. He's beat me up. He's been hard to deal on me. But I love him. Oh,
Mark the Pope of the chimney industry. He's our Pope.
Jake Ryan, Tommy's brother, says, I appreciate both of you. Thank you, Clay, for always helping me with holding the mirror up to help answer questions and solve problems.
Yeah. I got one right here, Mark.
That is tough, man. That is tough, especially when somebody else is holding it up on you.
Just know that there's anybody in our industry I know would hug you and try to make the best for you, try to really help you.
For sure. That's your best friends. That's the people you need to be around.
There's been a lot of people jump in a car and went and talked to somebody and helped them. A lot of people did.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Well, good stuff, man. Thank you so much, Clay. Hope have a good night, and I'll see you here in a couple of weeks down in CSG. See you, man.
Good night, folks.
Remove from page. All right. Hey, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for bearing with me at the hotel room, and we're doing the SureFire Live. Thank you for all the comments. And Clay's going to have a great program there, and reach out to him if that interests you. And I can tell you, like I said, from my own experience, probably one of the best things I ever did was become a member of associations, becoming certified, and becoming part of mixed groups and management's exchange of best practices. And I'm still in those. I'm still in one with SureFire, and I'm also in one with an entrepreneurs group out of Nashville. And man, this is just how you move fast. You want to move fast, get around other people that want to move fast, and they will show you the way. So, all right, guys, thank you. Good night, Diane. Thank you for saying that. And we'll talk to you next week. See you.